Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube video, and this is part 2 of how to approach the extract questions. So again, if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do so and click in the bell icon. So without further ado, let's move on to today's part. So in today's part of this part 2 series of video, so here this is part 2 series of video, and we will be focusing on the important steps that you need in order to be able to answer the extract questions. Okay, so in step 1, it's always important that you're reading the extract question very carefully. So reading the extract questions is very important because when you read the extract question, you somehow have an idea if you feel comfortable with the question and if you want to continue doing the question. Now, skimming is a very important technique, and if you haven't learned it, it's a good idea to start learning it now. So usually if this is your passage, so, for example, if this is your passage, skimming is trying to read through something without putting so much attention to the details. Okay, so you're trying to skim through things without putting too much attention to the details. So you're just trying to read through it quickly, but then you're trying to focus on the important things that you need to take in. So that's the idea of skimming through an entire extract to see if you understand what does the extract mean. Now, if you notice anything interesting in this step 1, make sure that you're going to circle it with a pencil first. That is very important. Step 2. So this is step 2. So after you've skimmed the passage, it's time for you to start reading it. So skimming and reading is two different things. So this is skimming and this is reading. So skimming and reading. So if you have a passage, skimming is trying to go things very quickly and just focusing on the key points. So that is the idea of skimming. Reading is trying to read everything. So read with detail. So you want to spend sufficient amounts of time to read through every single word. And then once you've skimmed in step 1, so after you've done skimming in this part, which is usually done in step 1, if you follow my way, and reading will be done in step 2. So in step 1, once you've done your skimming, you will be able to get a basic idea of where the extract is from. So where it's from. So you will have some understanding on how important this extract is in the novel, and you will also have some idea of what's going on in the extract. So you will know what the situation is, you will know who the characters are, and you will have some basic understanding of the theme as well. So in step 2, when you're taking an additional step, so your additional step is basically to read carefully about the extract. So reading carefully is going through this part. So when you're doing that, you'll be able to think about the 5 W's and the 1 H. You'll be able to think, what is the mood of the story? Who are the characters? What is happening in the story? And you have to give yourself some time to try and brainstorm all these concepts. So brainstorm is the idea of doing step 2. So in step 3, it's time for you to start highlighting. So now that you've read your extract in step 2, you've skimmed it in step 1. Step 3 is to start highlighting important evidences. So what is evidences? Evidences is like quotes that you're going to highlight that you think that might be very important for you and that could relate to your key point of your essay. Okay? So in your quotes, you're trying to show it as evidence of your key points in your essays, and you want to make sure that you're highlighting all the quotes so that it's more easier to understand. And another important concept is to make sure your handwriting is readable. So usually in a lot of exams, a lot of people would just scribble down things, and you'll just say, okay, if this is a quote, you need to say, okay, this is point 1. So of course you can't read what you've written. So make sure your handwriting is readable. At least you know what you're writing down, okay? So do not do this, but do this. Okay, so you can do this, but don't do that. Make sure your handwriting is readable and try to do things that will not confuse you, because you don't want to confuse yourself. There's already an extract and there's very limited space, so try to write more small plus neatly. Okay, because if you're trying to write in a very untidy way, you're going to write it in a very big handwriting and you're not going to understand what you've written. Now step 4 is to see if you want to add anything additional. Okay, for example, if this is an extract, these are my quotes. Let's say I've highlighted my quotes. I've already annotated, so this is point 1. This is about totalitarian power. Okay. So I've already highlighted, I know what's my point, I know what's my quote. But for example, let's say I don't have a quote yet, I don't know if I have a specific evidence, but I have a point that's related to the question. So try to write your point on top of your extract. So if this is your piece of paper, write your point on top of the extract. So for example, my point is, okay, character number 1 shows violence. Okay, just imagine this is a point. So I'm going to highlight my point. So this is my point. Okay, so step 4 is so this is the idea of step 4. So step 4 is to see if there's anything additional that you want to add. And if there's anything additional which you think is important for your question answering, then try to write that down on top of your extract and then highlight it with a different color. So you could do the same color like I did, or if you want, use a different color. So I've used purple before, so maybe you could use yellow. Okay, so you can use yellow for the points. So just try to do things that will make you remember all of your points and to make sure that it's eye-catchy. So make sure it's eye-catchy so that you will not forget about it, because you don't want to forget any of your points. So this is basically step 1, step 2, step 3, and step 4. Okay, so this is all the idea of brainstorming. So these are all the steps of brainstorming. So we haven't even started planning, and this is just 4 steps that you need to take in order to plan your essay. And then after doing steps 1 to 4, so after doing steps 1 to 4, it's time to go on to step 5, step 6, and step 7. So step 5 to 7 is something that is going to help you make your writings more clear. So in step 4, it's time to go through everything that you've highlighted. Okay, so in the previous part, we've highlighted some of the important quotes like we did over here. So then it's time to see which one of them is useful. Okay, so which one is relevant? So relevant generally means which one is useful to the question. Okay, and then if it's related to the question, you're going to put a big green color tick next to the quote. If it's not relevant, you're going to put a big red cross. Okay, so this is something you can do in the first few times when you do your extra questions. When you've done it a couple of times, you will become more familiar, and then you don't need to put a green tick and a red cross. You can just simply use your pencil to cross off or tick, and you'll be able to remember. And then step 6 is the idea of trying to see if there's any quotes that you can link together. Okay, so there might be a lot of quotes that you've already, for example, let's say if this is my extract. So here, this is my extract, and then I've got like lots of lines over here. Okay, and then I've highlighted some of the quotes. So the yellow is some of the quotes that I've highlighted. So after I've highlighted, I've maybe realized these 2 quotes maybe can be 1 point. Okay, and maybe these 2 quotes can be 2nd point. Okay, so you can try to see which quotes can give you more than 1 point, so you can link them up together. So this is step 6. Okay, And then step 7 is try to eliminate any quotes that you think is not strong or relevant. So if you think they're not strong, if you think you have any doubts, it's also time to cross those out as well. Okay? So after you've highlighted, it's time to write up your plan. Now, I really do hope this part of the video has really helped you. If you're interested to watch about how to answer extract questions, please move on to part 3, and this will be it for part 2. If you have any questions, please comment it below the comment section in this video, or you can go to my Instagram handle. So this is my Instagram handle, so it's just Shruti Karen. So Shruti__Karen, and this is my Gmail account. So it's shrutikaren.k@gmail.com. Okay, at gmail.com. So this is going to give you a better understanding of how you can further explain your essays and your examples. Okay. And I really do hope that this helps. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know, and this will be it for today's video.